This is a virtual presentation for the 2012 International Conference of the Constructed Environment. I am In Chin, came from Tokyo Institute of Technology. It's my pleasure to have the chance to communicate with you. Here is my proposal, interpretation of the front space design of suburban houses in Japan. I was studying landscape architecture for several years in my hometown, China, and I was involved in some real projects during that time. However, it was really confusing that even we designed some so-called special, charming place for people, the public reaction towards the project may be not in accordance with our imagination. So this is a problem. In urban design field, even we finish design, we still need to wait until the project completed to know the public reaction. At that time, what came to my mind? Why not we predict public impression beforehand according to design plan? Then I simplified this idea to research the relationship between public impression and physical space design. Therefore, there are two main parts in this paper. One is public impression, the other one is space design. In this paper, the public impression is called subjective impression, and the space design is translated into objective description. Then, the structure of this paper became in this way. Analyzing the relationship between subjective impression and objective description. Moreover, I used the questionnaire with bipolar scales to evaluate public impression on space design. On the other hand, I developed physical factors in order to measure physical arrangement, which means space design. This way to describe space design is the objective description I developed. I tried to find out some rules between these two subjects. By using correlation analysis, finally we can get the rules of relationship, which is the outcome of this paper. About the research objects and the purpose. As a first stage of my research, I picked out the front space design of suburban house for the experimental research. This paper aims to prove the feasibility of this method, which can discern the relationship between the objective description and subjective impression. We try to use it into evaluation of house design. For future, it is hopeful to provide necessary information needed to guide our design. First, let's check the first part, subjective impression. We use a questionnaire to get the subjective impression of people. We show the photos of the front space, let people evaluate the degree of the bipolar scales. The procedure is simple. First step, we need to abstract adjectives to make the bipolar scales. Second, we show the photos to subjects and let them decide the degree of it. Then we can get this kind of result. For the first step, abstracting adjectives, we just ask subjects a simple question. Please describe this outside image of this house, and let them describe the front space freely. Then we got more than 300 words like this. We picked out the high-frequency words and grouped the similar words into 8 pairs. Then the bipolar scales were settled. In order to reduce influence from the building, the appearance of them was modified in the same way. And the questionnaire is like this, with the bipolar scales degree. And after, let the subjects choose the degree of each bipolar scales. We calculate the average value for each example. Then we can find out some difference between them. Finally, we got the data of subjective impression of 6 examples we chose out. On the other side, how about the objective description? There are also 3 steps. Step 1, selecting the house examples. Step 2, is field surveying to gather the data of the house. Third is recording quantitative data by abstracting physical factors. Step 1. As Yokohama is a new city and Kyoto is a traditional city with long history, we chose 25 examples out. After grouping them, finally we picked out 6 examples in this experiment. We recorded the data of front space like height, length, and so on in the field survey. The rest part is a new idea. With those data got from the field survey, how can we arrange them is the main problem. As you see, we picked out the projection area and depth. We developed the way to calculate mean depth and developed proportion of projection area. Then we got the data of physical factors. As I mentioned, we got 2 groups of data till now. One is for subjective impression and the other one is objective description. The final step is doing correlation analysis to discern relationship between them. We use the SPSS software to automatically calculate the correlation coefficient between them. This is the result. The border words are meaningful to show the relationships. For example, like this one, the total projection area of wall have high positive correlation with open-closed scales. It means the total projection area of wall got larger. People tend to describe the front space as a closed space. From this table, we can read out several potential relations between physical arrangement and public impression. This table is the conclusion of this paper. And we also can figure out that the different physical factors have great impact on our impression of front space design. This kind of method is proved useful in the future. It is hopefully developed in the future. That's all I did in this paper. Thank you very much for your listening.